Happy January 2nd, everyone, because we're back once again to talk about Nintendo in 2022. Now, in part 1, we already covered everything we do know about, including all their games announced for the year. But this time we're here to talk about everything that we don't know. This includes upcoming DLC that hasn't been announced, games that haven't even been hinted at, or maybe perhaps rumored at, and everything else that could possibly happen from Nintendo or by Nintendo in 2022. It should be a pretty fun discussion, so let's hop right on into it. And like before, or like usual, we're going to go around the table, or virtual table, giving our predictions. But before we get to that, I want to start off with the elephant in the room, everyone. Or you could say the space pirate in the room. Metroid Prime 4, is it actually happening in 2022? Nintendo has not said anything about when this is actually releasing. So could it actually happen? Joey, you are a resident Metroid expert / superfan. What do you think about this?
Well, first of all, I'm glad we acknowledged that I'm the space pirate, bounty hunter, whatever you said in the room on both of those things.
I don't know anymore.
But I don't think it's going to come out this year. Maybe we will see it this year because I think we're going to get something else Metroid related this coming year. And that kind of ties into my first prediction, if we just want to jump right into the prediction.
Sure, let's do it.
All right, so here's what's going to happen. And this ties into the rumors we've been hearing. And when there's smoke with these rumors, there's fire. And I really do believe that we are going to get a Metroid Prime remake this year to tie into the game's 20th anniversary. Whether it's a remake of just the first game or a remaster of the trilogy, that remains to be seen. I've been hearing rumors left and right. Right now, the remake of Metroid Prime seems to be the newest rumor, coming from all kinds of sources. But I know for a fact we're going to be playing at least one Metroid Prime game on the Switch this year. And when it comes out, that's probably going to... I feel like that would be announced in a February, March, January, whatever, direct. And then it would come out over the summer because Nintendo, when they have anniversaries like Skyward Sword, Twilight Princess, they usually come out like way earlier than like November. That's when they save the holiday season for their big games. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm confident we're going to be getting a Metroid Prime remake or a Metroid Prime Trilogy remaster this year.
Yeah, I forget if you specifically mentioned it, but it is Metroid Prime's 20th anniversary this year. Yep. So it would make a ton of sense for that to tie into it. And I think I agree with you, Joey. I don't think we're going to see Metroid Prime 4 this year, but I had earlier predicted that I went out there and said we might see Metroid Prime 4 at the Game Awards. That didn't happen. Now, I think, if I recall correctly, I did amend it being like, if we don't see it, I don't think it's coming this next year. And if I didn't, then that's what I'm saying now. Because I don't think I think we could still see it this year. It's not releasing this year. I also agree that based on the rumors and things I've heard as well, the remake exists, it's happening, and I don't see that releasing either in the same year as Metroid Prime 4 or after Metroid Prime 4. I think it'll be before it, and I think it makes sense for it to release in the year before its release. So yeah, I fully agree with you. I think this is the year of the Metroid Prime remake or the trilogy, whatever it ends up actually being, and I'm actually excited for that. That's a lot of Metroid Prime goodness. The first one, possibly 2 and 3 as well, and then Metroid Prime 4 hopefully next year. Hey, that's pretty solid.
Yeah, that means like 3 Metroid games in like the span of 3 years. Like that's unheard of, almost.
That's practically going into the Zelda cycle, right?
Yes, that's the
yes.
But I'm right there with you guys, though. I definitely think that we're getting some sort of remake or remaster of either the original Prime or the trilogy. I mean, as mentioned, the 20th anniversary. This is like the perfect time to release it, and I can see that being revealed in some sort of like, or whatever start of the year direct we have in like the general February kind of time. But I do think we'll see Prime 4 like revealed this year. Like maybe we'll have the Prime remake revealed in a February direct, releasing around July, as you were mentioning, Joey. And then in around September is when we get our first look at Prime 4. Maybe no release date yet, but just look, here's your first look at it.
I feel like if they're going to show Metroid, I feel like if they're going to announce and release the Metroid Prime remake or Prime Trilogy remaster, whatever, they got to say something about Prime 4 with it. So, I mean, with Skyward Sword HD, they didn't show anything of Breath of the Wild 2 like right next to it, but they did show it at E3 later that year. So who knows?
They did have Eiji Aonuma come on screen and say, "Oh, like I know you're waiting to hear more about this, but soon."
That's exactly what else. That's how I think they'll handle it this year, unless they hold off on announcing the remake or the trilogy until E3. Then I could see a paired announcement, but before that, I think they'll probably just do what they do with Zelda, where like, hey, Metroid Prime 4 is still coming, but in the meantime, here's the trilogy or Metroid Prime remake.
I'd love to see it though, where they announce the Prime remake, and Samus is running towards like one of those blue doors or whatever, and it closes. And then it's like, and one more thing, here's a look at Prime 4. The door opens and you see what Samus looks like in Metroid Prime 4, and it goes into that briefly. That would be pretty cool.
That'd be so cool.
That would be awesome.
And I hope it's the trilogy, honestly. Like, I know, like, a Metroid Prime remake I wouldn't sneeze at all. That sounds really great, especially if it's like a really detailed remake. But like, we need to play all 3 games before Prime 4. Like, that's important to me.
Now the real question is, what is it? Federation Force? Isn't that supposedly like set in Prime? Is that going to be important too? To get a remake?
No, it's not. The story doesn't matter.
Okay.
Well, there was an end credit scene in Federation Force, and that was, you can watch it. You can watch our video about that on GameXplain.
That's right.
Here's a trade-off though. Would you rather want the trilogy, or you get Prime 1 with new content added? What would you prefer?
Trilogy.
The danger with adding content to a game that already released is they can throw off the balance of it, I feel like. So I think it's best to leave it as is, probably. But with that said, I want it / expect it to be, at least Prime 1, to be essentially a full-on remake with brand new assets. Whereas I'm not expecting the same of Primes 2 and 3. I think those will be more in line with other Nintendo HD ports, which still reads as the same models and everything. I just upgrade some textures and, quality.
And those games still look great, so like, that's fine.
They do. My only concern though is the same concern I had with Mario Galaxy, and partially why we may not get Mario Galaxy 2 and then Pikmin 3, is that the controls, they're not going to be as good in Prime 3 because the gyro just isn't as good as a Wii Remote. It's close, but it's not the same, and that's a bummer because Metroid Prime 3 was one of the best controlling games for the Wii pointer, and it's unfortunate that people aren't going to have quite the same experience, assuming it is coming.
Well, yeah, we'll also just have to see, for one, if it's real, and two, if it's even like, how much they would revamp those controls too. So, yeah, that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, I expect that there would be. I mean, that's a great point. I'm talking as if you will be using gyro. I don't think we'll have to use gyro. I think they'll have standard controls in there.
I believe so.
I'll go even further. I'll bet you that Metroid Prime, the original Metroid Prime, will share the same type of controls as well, giving you free look, the free ability to look around, all with a standard control stick or standard control stick settings, and that will actually kind of make it feel like, in a sense, a little bit like a new game.
Yeah, and they'll also give the veterans the chance to play with those Titan controls, and as clunky as they are, a lot of people really like those controls.
Yeah. I was going to say...
There's one thing... Go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead.
I was going to say quickly, I would really like it if they still supported GameCube controllers on it.
Yes!
I knew you were going to go there. That's where I was going. Yes, we need the GameCube adapter support. I love how the GameCube controller is never going to die. It's just going to live on.
It's never going to die.
It's going to outlive all of us. Yes, I hope it is here as well, because that would be amazing. So... All right. Anything else about Metroid Prime Remake before we move on? We all think it's happening, so...
I don't know why, but the first thing to come to mind is, what if this was the return of Labo, and you get, like, the Samus gun Labo?
Oh my god. What I want, I mean, that would be amazing. I mean, I specifically want just Metroid Prime VR. Like, the game was built, with the idea of you being inside Samus's visor, right? They have all the visor effects and everything. Yeah. Give me that in VR. It would be so amazing. It's not going to happen because Nintendo doesn't care about it anymore, but my god, I would love that. So I would only play it that way.
My goodness.
All right. So that's Metroid. Let's go ahead and move on to another prediction. Tris, you want to give us something that you have in mind for 2022?
Sure. So I don't think we're done with Mario Party Superstars. I already did a little video on a free update the game could get. But I think, realistically, with how well Mario Party Superstars is doing, I feel like we're going to see DLC for this game. I don't know to what degree. It might just be a free update, or it might be a whole big, set of DLC packs with boards and characters and minigames or something. But I think there's a lot of potential there, especially with how successful the game has been. It's the first proper online Mario Party from the start with really good systems, and I think rather than immediately jump to the next new game, which is what ND Cube usually does, I think they're going to want to stick around and actually support this game for at least a year or 6 months or something with more content as we go to keep the hype going on this game. Because I've actually noticed in the last few days of 2021, Mario Party Superstars was trending the entire week.
Yeah,
because every time it does. Every time Nintendo was like, "Oh, what games are you playing this holiday?" Mario Party always trended, and I think that's a good sign.
I got my parents to play it over the Christmas break. So
there you go.
Yeah, and I fully agree. I thought they would add DLC for Super Mario Party, which they didn't. But I feel like it'd be incredibly foolish not to add something more to Superstars, particularly with the expansion pack now, because I fully expect any added DLC for Mario Party at this point will be paid, I imagine, but free if you had the expansion pack, and that will add more value to the expansion pack, while providing more content to those who want it if you're willing to pay for it. And you'd still be able to play with people if you don't have it, if you join their lobby or whatever. But if you want to actually, I'm not quite sure how that would work. That would complicate things. Actually, you might need, I think they might actually require you to have the content if you want to play with other people. In any case, that's how I expect them to go about it. And I think they'll essentially double the content in the game. I think we'll get at least 4 new boards. We'll get some new characters in there, and they'll add some more mini games as well. And I hope, at least. And I think that'd be a ton of fun. I want that game to live on forever.
Yes, and that is something I can see. That's something I don't think they would wait on. So if it doesn't get announced in like February or whenever the first Direct of the year is, then I don't think it'd be happening. But I think that's the only time they can really announce it, unless they just surprise Twitter drop. Look what we're doing soon. Right. If it's in a Direct, I think that's the only time they can do it, because at that point you're more than 6 months out from it, and I don't know if it would be all that successful. Well, it would be successful, but I feel like they wouldn't be capitalizing on it much at that point.
Mm-hmm. I think another thing about Mario Party is it's pretty modular, so I can't imagine the content takes all that long to develop, unless they're planning on releasing a whole bunch at once, which they may be. It could be like a whole expansion pack. Yeah. But they can also do a slower rollout too. It's like, hey, here's a single map, and a few more mini games, and maybe a character. And I can't imagine that'll take terribly long for them to throw together. So we'll see though. But yeah, I think DLC is absolutely certain, guaranteed for Mario Party.
I hope.
It better be. All right, Tom, what do you have for us prediction-wise?
Okay, so prediction-wise, going with realistic ones here, Super Metroid Remastered 2027.
Wait a minute, these are 2022 predictions. What's going on?
Oh, shoot. Well, rumored for 2027, or they announce it, then it takes 5 years. Because it has to be perfect. No. Yeah. Nintendo obviously notices what's popular sometimes, and something that's always super popular is Switch firmware updates. Everyone loves them. Those are some of our most popular videos. I think Nintendo will capitalize this and finally deliver on folders in 2022 for Switch and make everyone super happy. It's like a nice little moment. People with folders can organize things. I think that might happen this year.
So you're saying we'll get folders, and then people will love it for a moment, and then they'll realize the theme tab still hasn't been updated.
Yeah. I was thinking the exact same.
It only took them 5 years.
Yeah, I think we will get some kind of major OS update this year. I mean, in terms of like organization, because it's getting to a point where we need it. Like, I have upwards of 100 games. I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who have even more than that, and it's difficult, like trying to find the game you want, or even trying to find a game you want to play if you don't have it specifically in mind. And so folders or some kind of better organizational thing would be great. Something I wouldn't mind even is if they add like a second shelf where you can like pin games you want to keep there, like Mario Party or anything else. Actually, it would be kind of cool if they essentially go like the Netflix route, where you have like different shelves and you can set up different categories instead of maybe folders. I think that might be neat. But in any case, Tom, yes, that needs to happen.
When you mentioned Netflix, I'm just like, well, Switch doesn't even have Netflix too, so.
That's true.
Is this the year of Netflix, 2022?
Oh my gosh. Here's what's going to happen. Nintendo's going to announce the next console and then say, by the way, Switch is getting Netflix.
And then people won't want the new console. It's like, oh, finally.
Yep.
No, I think Tom, you're absolutely right that we do need folders. And Andre, you gave the perfect example of having way too many games is the perfect reason to have better organization. And it's baffling that we're this far into the year of the Switch and there isn't anything. Not even going into my half joke about not having themes, the lack of real organization options beyond sorting them differently by most played or most recently played, that's it. And we need a lot more than that. And I really like the idea you mentioned of having a second shelf. I know you compared it to Netflix, but that actually reminded me of the 3DS menu, where you can zoom in, zoom out. You can set multiple layers or rows, place things exactly where you want. Sure, that had themes, and that's what I loved about it too. But you can have the folders, put them where you want, and the badge arcade, and you can decorate it the way you want it to. And I think that's something that would have been really special to have for the Switch, within the first 2 years. But now it's just give us the minimum that we need of organization,
Seriously.
please.
It's driving me nuts. Nintendo. This is part of the reason why I know people say, has Nintendo gotten a little complacent this generation? Obviously not with their games. Their games are top tier. But, stuff like this, it's kind of baffling to see. Nintendo hasn't given us the folders, hasn't even given us the themes. The Switch home menu is just so bland and boring. And on top of that, we still don't even have Netflix and other video streaming services on the Switch. Or even a web browser, for that matter, at least an intentional web browser. Yeah. So, what's going on there?
Yeah, I will say, going from the PS5 or Series X to the Switch, it's wow, this definitely looks like a generation behind in terms of interface. It definitely just looks boring and blah. It's not joyful to use in any way, unlike Nintendo's typical OSs, which have been kind of fun to just explore. With that said, I still appreciate how quick it is. It's still by and large quicker than almost any other system in terms of just accessing things.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's at the point though where I'm thinking we're not going to get a proper OS visual upgrade until the next Switch, whatever that ends up being, a Pro or 2. I just think they want to keep the Switch as streamlined as it is, because apparently the OS takes up literally no room. It takes up a super small amount of memory. I think they probably want to keep it that way and keep it quick and until they have the hardware to further support it. So that's unfortunately something we may have to wait on, I think, unless 2022 is the year of a new Switch.
No.
No.
Although Tris is
no. We just had the OLED. I think at best it would be the end of 2022, the announcement of when, kind of when we had the Switch reveal originally, we would have the announcement of the successor to the Switch or the Switch Pro or whatever, more info in the start of 2023.
Right.
No, I'm not expecting anything like that otherwise.
The year is going to be their biggest year yet, as said in my latest video. So they're really not going to want to get people distracted by saying that the Switch is about to die. So,
which, if that video isn't up yet, it will be very soon. So we'll see. I don't fully know yet. Tom, were you going to say something?
Yeah, and Tris, the thing about that though, if you do that, you kind of maybe get people waiting on buying the system. So probably they just wait till January to announce a new one.
Yeah.
And sales for Christmas go through. But also the chip shortages, is probably the biggest factor in why there isn't a Switch Pro yet, really.
Yeah, that's the main reason why I don't see it happening anytime soon. I think first and foremost they're going to be trying to get the OLED to be a bit more accessible to everybody, and probably other versions, other bundles, special Switches that are OLED versions and things like that. I think they're going to write out the OLED for a while before doing any other kind of Switch. So it'd be at least a year, I think.
Yeah, well, Nintendo's already warned of shortages in 2022, which, I think would dampen the expectation of another Switch model anytime, super soon. Yeah. So I agree with all of you. I think they're going to ride out the OLED for as long as they can before we, and also to see what the market's doing in terms of chip availability and all of that. So
right.
We'll see. Yeah, the pandemic's been a wild course of events. So who knows what's going to happen next year?
Yeah.
All right, moving on to my prediction. So, real quick, I believe we talked about in our previous portion of there being 7 games that we know about announced for 2022 for sure, published by Nintendo and Pokemon Company. typically Nintendo publishes around 12 games or so, a dozen or so games. So at least 5 games, possibly around 5-ish games that we don't know about. So since I've already predicted that Breath of the Wild 2 probably won't be coming out this year, in my opinion, I think it might get delayed to 2023. That actually reduces the amount of games that we know about possibly this year by 1. So that opens up the option for another game, hopefully, if that's how that works. I don't think that's how that works, but I'm going to go with it. In any case, I think we will still see some Zelda this year. It won't be Breath of the Wild 2, but it will be Zelda Maker. That's right. We're gonna get a proper Mario Maker sequel, except in a whole new IP, being Zelda. It's more than just a dungeon maker. You can make full overworlds from the top-down perspective. It would of course have themes from Zelda 1, Zelda 2, Link to the Past, and Link's Awakening, specifically the Switch version of Link's Awakening. Get that awesome, like, classic doll look. It'll have full mouse and keyboard support, rectifying a major issue with Mario Maker, which was the interface, in my opinion. And this way you can actually make a fully text-based adventure. You can type your own Zelda story if you want by clacking away on your keyboard and giving the whole, every character dialogue. And it'll also have support too for 2D segments as well. Since it's built on the Mario Maker engine, why not? You can have the side-scrolling from Link's Awakening or from Zelda 2, and you can incorporate that into your map design. So I'm going all in on that.
We know they've been thinking about this idea for a while, too, because there's the Dungeon Maker in the Link's Awakening remake. So we know they're willing to explore the idea a bit. Now, I'm going to be honest, the Dungeon Maker was pretty lackluster. But I think there's a lot of potential there for a Zelda Maker. My only concern about it is I feel like they would have at least mentioned something about that for the anniversary. Maybe COVID delays and pandemic delays, they just didn't get anywhere near enough progress on it to be comfortable enough to announce it for the anniversary. But I feel like they still would have announced, like, hey, we have something coming later on. Maybe they just won't brand it with an anniversary thing. But that's something that I feel like would be. Though I guess the Mario Makers weren't, but...
Yeah. It's possible. You never know with Nintendo whether or not.
Actually, Mario Maker was the 30th anniversary, wasn't it? The first Mario Maker was the 30th anniversary.
I don't remember.
It was.
Yeah. Nice tie in there.
I remember I looked in my closet and I saw my 30th anniversary pin. I got a GameStop and I'm like, memories.
With last year's anniversary stuff, though, we did have Skyward Sword and we did have the Zelda Game & Watch. So maybe they were happy with that. For Zelda Maker, I would just be happy if it was Zelda 1. I know it makes sense to have more themes. And maybe, remember they had that sort of Breath of the Wild prototype in Zelda 1? If it took elements like that and did that, that would be pretty amazing. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Giving us access to more like physics-based things that you never had available. You never had available in the original Zeldas. That would be so cool. Completely change how those games could play and the types of puzzles you can make. That would be so freaking cool. So. Yeah.
I would just rather have Wind Waker and Twilight Princess on Switch.
Yes.
I don't know why they're not on Switch yet. There is no good reason why these games are not on Switch yet, Nintendo.
So I'm gonna use that to segue because I want to talk about Twilight Princess HD and Wind Waker HD potentially coming to Switch because that's something that's been rumored for like a good 2 years now.
It would be rumored.
It's been rumored for 2 years with insiders saying like they're practically ready. So I know a bunch of people have been thinking they didn't release it last year to give all the attention to Skyward Sword HD and focus on that. And I think that would actually make a lot of sense. Now, having looked back at these remakes, the Zelda remakes tend to be for 10-year anniversaries. Wind Waker's was for its 10-year, Twilight Princess was for 10-year, and Skyward Sword was for its 10-year. So I almost feel like they may look at it as, no, these remakes are just to honor the 10th anniversary of these games, and that's it. We're not going to be getting them.
That'd be dumb, but okay.
That's the thing, but it would be dumb. And I think Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD, I think this is the last year that they have a chance to come. If they don't come this year, like Andre said, no Breath of the Wild 2 this year potentially, but maybe we'll get these instead, just so there's something Zelda. If we don't get these this year, I don't think they'll come to the Switch at all.
That would be really stupid. Like, that'd be so... I'm like so angry at that idea of that not happening, because that is the stupidest idea ever. Just like, hey, we're Nintendo, we don't like money, so we're just not going to put these on Switch.
Trust me, I want my favorite game on the Switch.
And next year, Triss, would be the 10-year anniversary of Wind Waker HD.
Oh, wow.
Are you kidding me?
So there is still an opportunity, I
Has it
think.
been that freaking long?
Can you believe it?
Oh, my brain.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about those as well. I think there's a chance we'll get at least Wind Waker HD, possibly this year, maybe next year. I think it's just a matter of time until they hit. I just don't know when. The only thing that saddens me is I think it'll be a lesser experience on Wii U. That was one of the few games that took great advantage of the Wii U gamepad, and it'll be a lesser experience for not having access to it.
All I liked was the gyro aiming, and they'll still be on Switch. So.
Oh, I loved accessing the map while sailing without having to pause it. You could change your inventory while doing that, or even mid-battle even. Easier than you could on the controllers, the standard controls. But to that point, the game already has standard controls built in too, so it's not like they have to reinvent the wheel for Switch. The game's pretty much ready to go. Minus we have our hardware accommodations they have to make for it to actually run on the Switch.
Plus, people can more easily share the selfies in Wind Waker using the Switch snapshots.
See, there's another feature. Miiverse. Are they going to bring back the bottles? Could they bring back the balls in some way? I hope they do. I love the bottles. I love the Miiverse bottles. Anyways.
That would be great.
All right. Joey, what's your next prediction?
All right. I don't know how likely this is, but, I think my next two predictions are just things I really just freaking want on Switch. I remember predicting this back in the last Nintendo Direct because I just really wanted it. I want the Arkham games on Switch, the Batman Arkham games. This would be the best year to do it because we got a new Batman movie. We're getting a Suicide Squad video game. We're getting a new Gotham Knights video game. Just even if you're not going to put those games on Switch, just give us some of the best superhero games that have already been made on the Switch. Batman, Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, maybe Arkham Origins, maybe Arkham Knight. I would just be happy with the first two even. Just give me that collection on Switch. I need to play those games portably.
Yeah. I did the guide for the first Arkham Asylum, so it'd be nice to be able to revisit that and see if my guide actually worked or not. I don't remember how the game works now. So long.
Were you telling them how to find the Riddler trophies or anything? Or
So I did some of them, but I didn't bother going back and finishing it. So I'm sorry to everyone who used my GameSpot guide. It's not incomplete when it comes to the Riddler trophies. So
man.
Yeah. All right, that'd be cool. Tom, what's your next prediction?
Okay, my next prediction. We had Dr. Mario World End, of course, which is very sad.
Yep.
R.I.P.
Yep, died again.
Yeah, so I think Nintendo might want to fill in a new game on their mobile sort of strategy. And there's been a game that has been around for a long time that the producer, Hideki Kano, worked on, and he's also the kind of lead guy behind many of the mobile titles. I think maybe this year we see Nintendogs on mobile. That's my prediction.
Wow.
Bring it back. You could have kind of a walking element with it. I know Pikmin kind of follows that a bit, but I'm going to say maybe Niantic and Nintendo are kind of separate in there, and that this might have been working on separately. I think it'd be a great opportunity to bring back Nintendogs.
That actually raises a great point because I'm pretty sure the Pikmin game is only named as one of several collaborations that Nintendo and Niantic were going to do together. So I think that's actually a really great point.
I think Nintendogs is such.
Yeah, what were you saying, Andre?
It's just a perfect fit for mobile.
Yes.
It seems like the perfect platform for the game, more so than the Switch or anything else, even more than the DS. You can take your dog on virtual walks, which would encourage you to get out of the house as well. You could send your dog out for a virtual meetup with other puppies, your friends' puppies. You could tap the touchscreen you'll pet your dog. It'd just be a really cute game, and it's really surprising that Nintendo hasn't tried the virtual pet type thing really since Nintendogs or Nintendogs plus cats, especially on the device like a phone that you have on you constantly. I think Nintendo could nail it, and I think that would just be a fun thing for people to visit. And I think too, what I would hope they would do is not lean too much into the thing is with this game is I don't think they'd be able to lean into the typical type of mobile nonsense where you're constantly leveling up and gaining XP and all that. That would totally go against the concept of Nintendogs. But it'd be a great way for them to sell you virtual goodies for your dog, like new toys or costumes for your puppy. Sorry?
A Mario hat.
Exactly, Mario hat, bingo, or Mario Kart you can play around with, like we saw in the games. So that'd be a pretty smart thing. Nintendo could I think Nintendo could monetize it without being aggressively
evil.
Like evil. Yeah, there we go. Exactly.
Yeah, and it'd be great for sharing photos too. I mean, you could have probably like some sort of AR function with your dog in there.
Yes.
Post them to Instagram, baby.
Yeah.
Like how cool would it be if when you're going on a virtual walk, you actually point your phone to the ground, you see your dog walking alongside you.
Yeah, and it's taking a poop and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Gotta use your special glove to pick it up, so
And you can
power glove.
Yeah. Revolutionary.
It's so good.
That's great.
All right, Triss, how about you? What's your next prediction?
I'm gonna say, I noticed, I believe it was back in December, the last free major update for Mario Golf Super Rush hit, with adding like Wiggler and Shy Guy. I don't feel like they're done though. I know Mario Tennis Aces back in the day did like a whole year of like monthly free updates, but I think in this case, I mean, Mario Golf's ended pretty early. I mean, 6 months, but I can see them doing some sort of actual paid DLC. Because Mario Golf World Tour on the 3DS was actually one of Nintendo's first first games with paid DLC. And I can see them doing that again here. Not the first, obviously, but I can see them doing some sort of paid DLC content to add even more content to Mario Golf Super Rush. And I know, Andre, you especially heard mentioning how the story was a bit lackluster. And I wonder if they would do like a story mode DLC that like adds more to it, finishes it, so to say, on top of other content that they would add as well. Because I think Tennis Aces even did that. They added a little bit of
Like a cut
story
scene
in a free, yeah. They added a little bit of story in a free update.
It's an interesting thought. I agree with you that I think we'll get DLC for it, and I think because I think it's pretty telling that they specifically said they're ending free DLC for the game. Not just DLC, but free DLC. Especially in a time when we now have the expansion pack, which they could roll out expansions for free to those who subscribe to it, but it would be paid for anyone else. I don't see them doing any major story-based content just because I feel like that could be problematic for people who are like, are they saying this game's unfinished? I have to pay more for a story-based fix for this game?
Yeah.
And I don't think people really play it much with a single player anyway. I think it's more multiplayer focused, at least at this point. So I think we could get new courses, maybe new modes still. I personally would love if they brought back some of the classic courses. Like, give us some of that Toadstool Tour goodness, like in the Mushroom Kingdom, you know?
That would be great for DLC, too.
Yeah, that would get people really excited, I think, to pick it up. Either paid or part of the expansion pack. Mm-hmm. So, but I agree with you. I think we'll see more for it.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, let's move on to, I think that brings us back to myself. And on the topic of Mario, there's a major, we don't really know much in the way of what's coming from the Mario IP for this year. We do know about Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, but that's pretty much its own separate thing. And we know Nintendo loves to make their Mario games. And it's been quite some time since Super Mario Odyssey. So I'm predicting that in a year in which I think Breath of the Wild 2 may be delayed, Mario will be there to fill in the gap. And I think it will specifically be Mario Odyssey 2, featuring new power-up or new capture abilities, of course new levels. It'll be an entirely new game, but it'll be like Mario Galaxy 2 to 1, where it's the same premise, but everything else is new around it. Yeah. And I think that could be the big holiday title this year.
But what about those rumors that the Super Mario Odyssey team is working on a new Donkey Kong game?
Right. So there have been rumors for both, I believe, at this point. And it is conflicting. It is very confusing on who's working on what. So I wonder if perhaps, here's my thinking. I absolutely think they're making a new DK game. I think it might be a little too soon for it, because we know there's a DK movie coming up, there's a DK expansion coming to Universal Studios, but neither of those are right around the corner. They're a couple of years out, a year or two out at least, yeah. So I think it'll make sense for them to focus more on Mario in a year when the Mario movie is launching, and focus on DK in the near future. So I think it could be possible there's two separate teams working on them. Maybe it's a whole different, development studio working on one of them. Maybe Mario even, although that'd be surprising. But yeah, so I think both games are being concurrently developed, but I don't think they're going to come out in the same year. But I do believe both exist.
It would be really interesting if they essentially gave Mario Odyssey to one of their other internal studios and be like, here, you have the original Odyssey as a base, go wild and make the second game. You have all the assets from the first game. Obviously, don't just reuse assets, but I can see that happening where either they give it to a different internal team or they even have the same team working on it, but significantly less of them, because a lot of what was there to make it work originally is already there. That's what they did Mario Galaxy 2. I'm sure we don't know the exact team structure for that one, but so much of Galaxy 1 to a degree was present in 2 that I think we'll see a similar sort of thing here.
Exactly. I think making a sequel to Mario Odyssey is much easier than making a sequel to Breath of the Wild, which is why I think we could see it sooner than that game still even.
Yeah.
So yeah, that very well could be the case. Like, it could be where... What was it? It was like New Super Mario Bros. 2. Maybe not the best example, but I believe they had like the younger, newer developers working on that game to help, like, you know, because they already had the template for the game and they were able to just kind of build levels for it. That could be a similar case here too. It's like, hey, you know how the game works, just make cool stuff for it, you know?
Yeah, but then they'll be like, you know how Captain Toad works? Just make Donkey Kong Banana Tracker. Bananas. Okay.
All right, you know what? I want that now. Forget everything I said. I want DK's Banana Tracker.
There we go. Perfect. No, right. I definitely see both sides of that. Just because we touched upon both of them, I think it's worth talking about. I think a Donkey Kong game is on the way. It is in the works, but I do agree with you. I don't think this is the year to see it. I do think next year in 2023 we might see it to start drumming up the spotlight towards DK again for 2024 with the theme park opening. The movie will probably end up being somewhere around that time as well. So having that game in 2023 I think makes a lot of sense. But Odyssey 2 this year I can see, especially if, as we keep saying, this year's looking like a 2017 part 2 or a sequel to 2017, whatever you want to call it. We don't really, I mean, what has the Odyssey team been working on since Odyssey finished all those years ago at this point?
Right.
I don't know if they've been working on a DK game the entire time. So
yeah, that'd be a long time for a DK game. But to be fair, if they are going full 3D, which we don't know if they are or not, I mean, this is all rumor based, of course.
Right.
But a full 3D one, I imagine, would take a fair amount of work to establish how that's going to work. I mean, they've tried before Donkey Kong 64, and that was to very mixed results. So
yeah, and to touch upon, I guess, what the Odyssey rumor is. I mean, the reason why rumors to Odyssey 2 have started coming about is actually because of Sonic Frontiers, and that's because supposedly, and I'm not going to get super detailed into this, but supposedly there was a leak from the end of 2019 from a company that was sending out like surveys for people to essentially to like, hey, look at this game concept. Would you be interested in playing this game? And all the details for Sonic Frontiers ended up being true, and it is now Sonic Frontiers. And the other two games that were posted with that was some other mobile Sonic game and Mario Odyssey 2. And that's why this is taking the spotlight again. And if that's the case, though, it was only in very early concepts at the end of 2019. Now, that's a few years ago at this point, so it actually could be nearly done if they started development right after that, but I think it's a little tough to say.
Yep.
Interesting.
Hopefully we'll find out. I mean, we should find out this year what exactly the Odyssey team is working on, hopefully.
Yes.
So, one way or the other. All right, Joey, what's next for you?
All right, so right now there's rumors going about that Monolith Soft's next game is Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I don't know if that's speculation, because we know they're definitely working on a new RPG, but everyone thinks, okay, maybe it's Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I mean, there are rumors of that game too, but you know, you can't give me Xenoblade Chronicles 3 without first giving me Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Nintendo Switch. I cannot tell you enough just how freaking wild that game is. Like, I remember picking it up on Wii U because I was like, oh, there's no Zelda this year. Maybe I'll just pick up Xenoblade Chronicles X. Open world game, set in like a wild area, and then like I was just blown away by it. Like it's such a cool game. It's actually quite different from other Xenoblade Chronicles games, not just in like its setting or the characters, like in its gameplay as well. Like all I can think of is like you control the height of your jumps. You can also not take fall damage at all, which is excellent. And it's just a way more fast-paced game, and it's got a really sick sci-fi setting, and it's, I think when it came out, it was the like the biggest open world in a video game too. Like at least
wow.
at that
It was
point.
huge. Yeah, it was massive.
Yeah, so I'm like, and I never finished that game on Wii U. So like, wow. I need to play that game on Switch.
It seems like a pretty obvious, or maybe not obvious, but yeah, it seems like it should be an obvious candidate for coming to the Switch. Especially in a time when they're running out of Wii U ports. They ported most of the major games, borrowing like the Zeldas and a few others. And Xenoblade Chronicles seems like a great way to fill the gap between, now and the eventual release of Xenoblade Chronicles 3, which is probably what they're making. So yeah, and I think a lot of people, obviously a lot of people missed it on the Wii U.
Yeah.
And it'd be fun too for them to revisit it because I believe that was a game that got Xenoblade or the Zelda Blade, the Xenoblade team working on Breath of the Wild to flesh out that open world. So it'd be fun for people to be able to see where it kind of all started on Wii U. All right, Triss, what do you have next for us?
You know what? It's been a while since the last one of these games, even though their company kind of declared bankruptcy and sort of disappeared. I still think we could see another entry in the Mario and Luigi series. Now, I don't know if that would be yet another remake of an older one, but on Switch, or if there would be a brand new entry, but I kind of feel really bad for Alpha Dream because they were still making games for the 3DS until like the end of 2019. Like, they made the Superstar Saga remake and the Bowser's Inside Story remake both after the Switch had already come out, which definitely didn't help the sales for those games at all. No. And I don't want to say I blame Nintendo for what happened to them, but I think that kind of sent them out on their way because they were making games that unfortunately, they weren't new entries and they were on the 3DS. They weren't going to drum up that much attention comparatively. And it's really unfortunate, but even though this happened to Alpha Dream, I think Nintendo absorbed a lot of the employees anyway. So realistically, any other of their internal studios could still work on a Mario and Luigi game. They own the IP, it's theirs. And it's been since 2015 or 16 since the last new entry of Paper Jam. So I think it's time to finally see another Mario and Luigi game. Now on the Switch, now in 3D.
I've always wondered, because when I played Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle, I always wondered what a 3D Mario and Luigi game would look like on the system. Little did I know that company went bankrupt. I didn't even know that. But like, yeah, I would really love to see that. I've never really played the Mario and Luigi games that much, but I would love to.
I've enjoyed the series, but I don't think we're gonna get another one anytime soon. I think that it ran Alpha Dream basically into the ground, and I don't see why they'd be particularly excited to revisit the series. I think there's a chance we get something like that, perhaps in the form of Wario and Waluigi, baby! It's time!
I can see that.
We need it. That would be amazing. That would be incredible. I think they deserve their own game, and I think that'll help add some more, help breathe some new life into what was kind of becoming a stale formula, I feel like. And that might lend us, that could just possibly work well. But who knows if that's going to happen or not. Yeah, as much as I would like a proper Mario and Luigi on Switch, I don't see it.
It's unfortunate, honestly. The series was really, really good, and then kind of tripped up and didn't know where it was going from there, and then it led to the downfall of Alpha Dream.
They had a freaking multiverse crossover with Paper Mario.
This series was a lot of fun, and I do think we could see if to my original prediction of it, I think it'd be something that maybe we could see this year. But I think more realistically, we see the essence of these games, the gameplay, the mechanics, the style of it, turn into something new. Whether it's a new Mario RPG series or something else entirely. We know the reason why the Paper Mario series hasn't been RPGs or standard RPGs lately from an interview you guys did was because, there's the Mario and Luigi series for that. Well, now there isn't. So maybe they'll actually revamp the Mario RPG genre with a new game series, a new IP. New IP, it's still Mario, but
a new Super Mario
off of
RPG. A new Super Mario RPG. There you go.
Oh no.
Yeah, Super Mario. Bring back Geno, finally, after all these years.
Yes.
I would be afraid of a new Super Mario RPG replacing everyone with like Toad. So you'll have Mallow as Yellow Toad.
They
and
would.
Geno as Blue Toad.
No.
No,
Freaking
do
would.
that. Let's not even go there. Oh, that hurts. That cuts deep. I would love to see, though, speaking of Paper Mario, like something in the lines of like a Paper Zelda, like a GameXplain into a different IP. I've seen some like concept art, or not concept art, but like fan-made ideas for Paper Zelda, and they all look amazing. It's like, yes, give us that. That would be so freaking cool. So
That would be.
all right. Oh, actually, Tom, what's your next prediction?
Do you want me to build off that one with a crazy one or a more grounded prediction?
Whatever you want, Tom.
Okay,
Crazy.
well,
Let's go crazy.
all right, you were mentioning, Wario and Waluigi. It's going to be about 3 years since Luigi's Mansion 3, because that was out October 31st, 2019. Next Level Games, I think we'll see what they're working on in the Fall Direct, if not the June one. And they're known for super expressive characters. I think they're too good to work on like another Strikers or something unless they have multiple teams. I think it's a good chance for them to move on from Luigi's Mansion and take on another Nintendo character, but not Mario, Wario, and a new Wario Land, and make it 2D to contrast with whatever Odyssey 2 or the DK game might be, and throw in playable Waluigi as the hype reveal for it, and just build on how great they are at making expressive characters for that game. Plus Wario's super greedy, so the theme will be going to space.
All right, I love everything about this, like because they already perfected Waluigi in Mario Strikers, as we all know, and to see them give another take on Wario and Waluigi in a proper like adventure game type setting or 2D setting, whatever it ended up being, whatever it might end up being, would be incredible. I would love to see their animation, their humor combined with those characters. It'd be something magical. And plus, they are a Nintendo-owned studio now, and that probably even frees them up even more to be working, hopefully, within Nintendo's IP range. So
I think the more realistic part of this is that probably we'll see a Next Level game towards the end of the year, but not necessarily a Wario game. That's just my pipe dream.
Listen, Wario and Waluigi to the Moon is absolutely a good pipe.
I hope they play a rendition of Fly Me to the Moon.
Can it be sung by Wario and Waluigi?
Fly me to the moon.
love it. That needs to happen now. I hope Next Level Games is watching this.
Please.
All right. Let's go into. Sorry, Tris. I might take one of your talking points at some point. But this year is another big anniversary. So Nintendo's already covered most of the big anniversaries, being Mario and Zelda, and then Metroid already had. Yeah, Metroid already passed as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the original Metroid, and then of course Donkey Kong as well, which they didn't even touch on either. But there is one more big anniversary coming up that I think Nintendo could do something with, and that is it's Mario Kart's 30th anniversary this year. And it occurred to me that, the Nintendo Switch Online service has been having a bit of a, maybe I don't know, an identity crisis, but like definitely a perception crisis where people aren't too excited about it. So what better way to rejuvenate it than by providing something new for Mario Kart? I don't think we're gonna get full Mario Kart 9 yet. I think they'll come on whatever the next platform is. Mario Kart 8's still selling too well anyway, but it would make sense to appeal to the existing Mario Kart 8 demographic. So I think, despite it being years old at this point, even more if you count the Wii U version, I think they're gonna make a Mario Kart expansion for the game. New tracks, new modes, maybe a Double Dash mode, and it'll be available to expansion pack subscribers as well as separate if you don't have that. And I think it'll be a massive expansion. It'll pretty much be Mario Kart 8 2.0. So Mario Kart
8.1.
8.2.
That sounds amazing, and I see it happening 100%. Like, they could totally do that.
Yeah, despite it being... go ahead, Tom.
No, you go first, Tris. My thing is more outlandish, I'm sure.
Okay. I was going to say, it definitely has been a long time. I mean, it's been almost 5 years since 8 Deluxe came out.
Yep.
And even longer since the original version of 8. But, like it or not, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe really is one of the most definitive Mario Kart experiences. So really adding on to that even more would be incredible. And tying it into the NSO expansion pack would be a great way to kind of get people just on board with it, like immediately. They wouldn't need to buy a whole separate thing for it. Now, do you think this would be similar to the way the original Mario Kart 8 handled its DLC of like 2 big packs like 6 months apart, or do you think they're gonna do a completely different?
Oh no, it'd be all at once. I think it'd be just one massive like upgrade all at one time. Okay. It's all available from the start, and it would basically reinvent the game. I mean, not from the ground up. It would basically give whole new life to it. So
yeah, I mean that's totally fair either way. I think this is a good idea because I mean it is Mario Kart's 30th anniversary this year, and it really is one of Nintendo's biggest IPs, even potentially even more than Mario itself. When we look at the sales of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the Switch, that's the system seller, and it's always been the system seller for pretty much every Nintendo console. So to really honor that would be incredible. But I don't think we would see any sort of Mario Kart 30th anniversary reveal in a normal Direct. I think they're going to go back to what they did for Mario Kart 8, where they have a whole Direct for it specifically. So in this case, I don't know if it'd be a Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Direct. I think it would just be like Mario Kart 30th Anniversary Direct. Maybe sometime in the spring or something, they can touch upon several new updates to Mario Kart Tour, a brand new update to Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, this big thing for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe getting DLC, and then maybe reveal that the next one is finally in development.
That'd be cool. That'd be a big announcement. But there's one of the game I think they can include there, Tris, too, in the Super Mario Kart, or in this Mario Kart 30th Anniversary Direct. Yeah. And that is Super Mario Kart 30. That's right, the official replacement for the Mario 30th game. What was that game called?
Super Mario Bros. 35?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah,
this is Super Mario Kart 30. It's just one giant battle mode. You got 30 people in there at once. It's this old school Super Nintendo graphics, and it's last person standing wins. And that will be so freaking. This Koopa shells flying everywhere. It will be a complete blast. It'd be insanity. And it'd be something that Nintendo hasn't really done yet. They haven't quite had the head-to-head like battle royale type thing, and I think Mario Kart makes the most sense to do that with, particularly as it was essentially the original battle royale, just with far fewer players than being 2 back in the day. So expanding that to 30, I think would be a ton of fun.
That would be incredible, and I wonder how they would do that because there's only 8 characters in the original Mario Kart.
That's right.
You would need to add a lot of characters if you're not going to lose yourself on that map. So I mean, that's not too hard to make, Super Mario Kart style graphics of characters, but it would be a lot of fun, I think, to get something like that. Even if, I would hope it isn't, but even if it's like a limited time anniversary thing, that could be a really fun experience that's free for Nintendo Switch Online members. I do have one other wild, fun Mario Kart one.
One more thing.
Yes. I was talking about the Mario Kart anniversary with some friends recently about something wild they could do. More wild than announcing a new Mario Kart or 8 Deluxe DLC.
Oh wow.
You give us a port of Double Dash and Mario Kart Wii. Now with new online.
Took my prediction.
So now you can actually play those online. Yeah, like a collection or something. You can actually play them online and enjoy them with Switch Online.
My God.
And, on an updated thing because the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection for the Wii is gone. And you can't play Double Dash or Wii online anymore. Right. So this would be a great way to bring those up, honor the anniversary a bit. Yeah.
Yep.
Tom, you want to build on that?
Well, yeah, I was thinking make a Mario Kart Anniversary Edition to kind of buy time for Mario Kart 9. And obviously, the Super Nintendo 1 and N64 one already available. So make a collection with Double Dash, having the land support already, probably not too bad to make it online. And maybe try adding in, I'm not sure about Wii, it would be great, but something like DS, Mario Kart DS, or maybe even throw in the first arcade game or something that probably a lot of people haven't played as a neat collection.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, the interesting thing too about possibly Double Dash and the arcade versions, and Mario Kart Wii as well, is they're all built around network compatibility in some way, whether it's working online with Mario Kart Wii or connecting to other systems in the case of Double Dash or the arcade versions. So I wonder if that might help, with the whole online infrastructure. This is kind of already there to a degree, and people have been playing Double Dash Online through Warpipe, I believe, for forever now. So it'll be amazing to make that like an official type thing. And oh my god, I'm so on board for this. That would be a Mario Kart Anniversary Edition would be huge. That would be such a fun way of celebrating it by having these kind of like remasters of the classic games. Especially if they're able to combine the elements somehow, where like you can play on the tracks from Mario Kart Wii with double dash mechanics, like that would be amazing. So.
Oh gosh, that would be incredible. I don't know if they go that far, knowing how Nintendo tends to be with their remakes and re-releases. I feel like it would be slightly enhanced ports, mostly focusing on now you can play these on current online, and with new controls and such. But that would be incredible. Mario Kart's 30th anniversary is the one thing I'm really, really hoping to see something big from this year.
I hope so. That'll be a fun one to celebrate. It's one they've never really touched on before, to my memory, and it's a series definitely worthy of it. Just for especially with how important it is to like, I feel like gaming in general, with how many spin-offs there have been, or not spin-offs, but like spiritual successors from other companies to Mario Kart since, including like Chocobo Grand Prix this year even. So that'd be great. All right. Do we have any other predictions? Anyone have anything left in the tank?
I'm all predicted out.
I do. I do have a different one, but if we don't want to have me go twice in a row, someone else can go.
No, well, I mean, I don't think anyone else has anything, so go for it.
So the big Capcom leak from a few years ago talked about it made us aware of many different games, including The Greatest Journey Chronicles, before that came out last year. One other game that it made us aware of was Ace Attorney 7, which they had already said like 3 or 4 years ago now was in development. And the Capcom leak showed it was actually originally supposed to come out before Greatest Attorney Chronicles. We've seen nothing from that yet, not even during the Ace Attorney 20th anniversary last year. So I feel like this year we're going to see the next Ace Attorney game get properly shown off and released before the end of the year.
That makes sense with the timing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think that would be great. So I know a lot of people are huge fans of that series. So I think a new one would be.
Can you tell? Not a lot of us are.
I know.
We don't object
because I love that series, but
We don't object. Exactly.
All right. There is another game that has been talked about for forever that we haven't touched on yet, perhaps because people have just given up hope for it. But that's Pikmin 4.
Oh.
Could this be the year of Pikmin 4? Because if you add it's 2022, if you add the latter twos together, what's that give you? 4. So
Oh my gosh.
could this be the year?
Here's what's going to happen, Andre, and I know for a fact this is what's going to happen. It's going to get announced at the last Direct of the year, but it's not coming out until 2023.
yeah,
That's what I
see
think.
the same
This year's just too packed for Pikmin 4, I think.
Yeah. Especially if any of our rumors end up, or not rumors, any of our predictions end up being true. We do know that Nintendo is like still exploring the Pikmin IP with Pikmin Bloom coming out not too long ago. So it seemed. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they are still working on Pikmin 4, or at least return to it at some point.
Yeah.
Because I'd be very surprised if they've been working on the entire time. I think it's a game they probably dropped at some point, and hopefully have gone back to. Particularly with Pikmin 3 Deluxe having come out not too long ago either. So yeah, I don't think this will be the year of Pikmin 4, but I think it's the year. Yeah, we could see Pikmin 4, which would be amazing.
I feel like that's one thing. I feel like that's a game
Prime 4 happens first.
What happens first?
I hope Prime 4 happens
Prime
first.
4 happens first? Yeah, me too. Me too.
Samus is shrunk down on an alien planet.
The game is called Primekin 4.
There you go.
Metroid Primekin 4. You heard it here first.
All right. We've been talking a fair amount about Nintendo Switch Online, like adding expansion packs, and we talked about 64, I believe, in our previous portion, in part 1. But one of the other rumors that came out last year was that Game Boy would be coming to the Switch Online, and it hasn't yet. 64 did. Game Boy never showed up. Do we think that's still in the cards? Do we think there is validity to that rumor, or do we think Nintendo's going to focus on Genesis and 64 for this year?
I don't know if we'll see it this year, maybe next year, and it's weird because it's like maybe Nintendo announces their next console next year. I don't know. It's weird. I'm just disappointed that they haven't put Game Boy Advance games on there, and there hasn't been any talk of Game Boy Advance games that would have been perfect for Switch Online, and of course, they didn't do it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think we could see Game Boy at some point. I mean, there were so many rumors with that. It's hard to believe it wasn't at least in the works at some point. NSO tends to get its major updates in the fall. So I could see it being something that gets announced in the fall time direct and maybe releasing before the end of this year, specifically Game Boy. But I feel like it wouldn't be exclusive to the expansion pack. I feel like it would be normal NSO. Maybe, or just Game Boy and Game Boy Color. Maybe Game Boy Advance would be the expansion pack, but
yeah,
that's a good idea.
Really,
to add value there with. Like, if people are complaining about the value of NSO with the N64 games, you got to throw in something there that's exclusive to it to make it seem like it has a better value too. If you have nothing else on the way.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if it's coming or not this year or anytime soon. I will say my personal enthusiasm has dropped since the Analog Pocket came out, which is an amazing device.
Yeah, because there's no topping that for you.
It wouldn't add a whole lot. Although it would still be neat to be able to play these games online with other people who have them, because it was never that hard. It was never that easy back in my day to play Game Boy with other people. Like, it was hard to find someone who had a Game Boy, who had the same game you had, and the link cable.
Yeah.
So I think this kind of breathe new life into those classics, especially to get like games like if they put Pokemon on there, that'd be so fun to revisit and be able to like relive that original experience, trade Pokemon back and forth like we used to. That'd be awesome. And I do hope too, real quick, that they add a Tate mode if they port it over, so you can actually play the Switch vertically as if it were like an old Game Boy.
Yeah.
That'd be neat. So
that would be neat. I was gonna say, I think because of Pokemon's 25th anniversary this past year, that's why I felt confident we would see Game Boy, because they would want to get the original Pokemon games on there for like the anniversary special. Because that's basically what they did with the 3DS when they put the original Pokemon games on that eShop. I'm pretty sure that was also for an anniversary. So I thought for sure we were going to see Game Boy back in 2021, but I guess not. And I'm curious if we get it now, if Pokemon would even come.
Yeah, with the Pokemon Company, never really know. you never get a good read on them.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. Like, I'm definitely less confident now in. Well, I was never that confident in the Game Boy rumor originally, because it didn't line up with what I heard myself. And it seems the timing, I don't know. It seems weird to follow up 64 with Game Boy, but I guess if they bring GBA with it kind of makes sense in that case.
Yeah.
So
because then at that point they'd gone as far as the Wii U Virtual Console did.
Right.
So. Well, that had DS. Some DS, which is still very strange to me, but they're almost as far.
Well, anything else for 2022 that we haven't touched on yet, everyone? Any final predictions or things you want to circle back to that we haven't fully addressed?
It's been a few years since Fire Emblem 3 Houses came out.
Yes, it has.
I think we realistically could see the announcement of a new one, or new remake or something. That's been rumored for a while, a new remake of a Fire Emblem game. Now, mind you, I think I've heard like 4 different games for what's being remade, so I don't have any faith in any specific one, but I think whether it's a new game or a remake, I think seeing a new Fire Emblem game announced this year makes a lot of sense. Maybe not released till like either end of the year or next spring, but yeah.
Yeah, because 3 Houses, was that 2018?
2019.
I think it was 2019.
2019?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's been coming up on 3 years then for that. It very well might be time, and I know a lot of people are hungry for another Fire Emblem type game. Although this is also a year where we have Advance Wars, which is a kind of similar type of gameplay.
And normally that's the same developers. But nowadays,
the fact that they weren't,
because now they aren't, and I think Koei Tecmo is more involved in Fire Emblem now, because they had a huge hand in 3 Houses, so they're probably going to keep going with that.
Yeah, that would make sense. Would that convince you to finally play 3 Houses, Joey? Or
I need to continue playing it. I don't know. We'll have.
That's right. You started it. That's right.
I did start it. Yeah, I don't know how far I got. Not very far. So. Yeah, I need to see about continuing that save file.
You got to do alternate playthroughs too. So.
No, I don't.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
All right. Is that everything that we can think of for 2022?
I got
Tom's
one
got something
idea.
else. All right.
So thinking about the Super Mario movie, people like movie tie-ins, but let's try something different here. How about theme park tie-ins? Thinking about bringing back the Wii U catalog, and so everyone wanted Nintendo Land, but why not? I don't think Nintendo Land will do it itself. Make Super Nintendo Land and tie it into Super Nintendo World as like an advertisement for the theme park. I'd like to see that happen because we need that sort of Metopia kind of outlandish game this year. I think that could fit the bill.
I want that so bad.
See now, all I'm thinking of with that is like Roller Coaster Tycoon or like some sort of like theme park build.
You get to build,
but you're building Super Nintendo Land.
You get to build it and roll the different attractions too. Customize your park.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I would love a proper sequel to Super Nintendo Land. Whether it's an update of the existing games, maybe adding in some new ones, tying it into Super Nintendo World now too, now that there's an actual theme park for it. That would be so freaking cool. Especially, and it would make a lot of sense with the Hollywood version opening up, I believe, next year. So
is it next year already?
I think it is. I think it's 2023. I don't think they've officially said. I think that's a rumor.
I forgot what year it was. I thought you were still in.
Keep up with the times, Joey.
I want it yesterday.
But yeah, I love the idea. That'd be amazing. I wonder, they'd probably have to rework the gameplay a bit, obviously, because you don't have the second gamepad experience here. But I do hope that they retained it to some degree with some modes that require multiple switches. But that is what made the game so fun. The fact that one person had one type of view and the others, worked off the TV and had to do things in a different way.
Yeah.
And I really did like that asynchronous, or asymmetrical rather, type of gameplay. And I would love Nintendo revisit that idea, because I feel like there aren't a ton of from Nintendo especially, a lot of simple based multiplayer experiences. Like a lot of them are complicated and are hard to get people into. Like ARMS is not the most easy game to get people to learn. So having these more simple based experiences would be great. That outside of Mario Party. So
probably it could be online too to kind of get through some of that.
Good point. That would also resolve that issue. Yes. All right. So now that we've talked about 2022 in general, some more grounded, some definitely more out there predictions. What are we thinking for the year so far? Are we more excited than we were before? How are we feeling in general for this year?
Talking about Mario Kart's anniversaries made me more excited.
Yeah, same here.
I'm still about the same level of excitement because I just feel like Nintendo could announce nothing this year and I'd still be excited because of every game.
I mean, we know about 7 games already, which is a decent amount. So
I'm pretty excited because I think we kind of know just about everything till June, and then at E3 we'll find out a whole bunch about the second half again that we don't know. So it's always going to be great just to see what's cooking and what's going to be coming out.
Yep, it's always fun, and I mean, we know at the very least there's gonna be a few more announcements that we have no idea about. Though I hope with you, Tress, that it will involve Mario Kart's 30th anniversary, even if Nintendo is just as likely to completely ignore it and not do anything for it.
Yeah.
But I would hope that this is one that they pay attention to. So even if it's not the 35th, as they've been more fondly celebrating recently, which is such a weird. I don't think were 35th anniversaries ever a thing before Nintendo started celebrating them.
I think they just try to celebrate big 5-year milestones, but they're trying to do bigger and bigger things each time.
Mario's 38th and a half anniversary game. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us here, everyone. Those are all our thoughts and predictions and hopes for 2022. Obviously, they're not all going to happen. Maybe none of them are going to happen, but we hope that we will, or that they will, because some of these games have me really excited. Now I really want that Wario and Waluigi next level game experience, because that needs to be a thing. So, with that, everyone, thank you so much for watching our predictions. Let us know what you're hoping for in 2022 yourselves in the comments below. And with that, thanks for watching, and of course, stay tuned to GameXplain for tons more Nintendo coverage all throughout the year. There's going to be a lot of it, I imagine, so stay tuned. With everyone, we'll catch you later. Bye.